Hey there, thanks for joining Kristin Coaching. Today we're going to be talking about something really exciting and different for a lot of people. A lot of people are not aware about this topic, but I wanted to bring light to it. And the purpose of this video today and this topic has to do with emotional exhaustion and relationship burnout. And not only that, what we can do if we find ourselves getting emotionally exhausted in our relationships. So I wanted to bring light into that, tell you what emotional exhaustion is, talk about some signs for emotional exhaustion, and how to tackle that to make sure that we are healthy for ourselves so we can be healthy in terms of what we bring to our relationship, okay? So emotional exhaustion, especially related to relationships, is basically when you feel emotionally and mentally depleted and tired. A lot of times it has to do, and it can be related to when especially our significant others are going through a hard time in their life, whether it's like personal trauma or grief or stressors, that they're just going through a really, really hard time. And what we want to do as partners is be there for them, support them, make sure that they're happy and okay and safe and content, right? So we tend to bring all of ourselves into our partner's situation. We want them to feel better and we want them to be happy. That being said, no matter what we do sometimes, that doesn't necessarily help our significant others, and they continue to be stressed and continue to grieve and continue to have a hard time. So that creates an emotional depletion within ourselves, and we can often find ourselves very drained and tired, which can lead to a relationship burnout, meaning that you're tired of the work, you're tired of the energy that you're putting into this relationship. So some signs of emotional burnout and emotional exhaustion in a relationship are like an ongoing fatigue. You're tired a lot. You're just feeling lethargic. You're just, it's that feeling of like dread and despair just in terms of like a simple daily activity. You just don't want to do that. A lot of times you can have trouble sleeping and not sleep very well at night, up at night thinking about everything. Is definitely a sign of what could be an emotional fatigue and exhaustion. You're finding yourself also, you could be very emotional and wanting to cry easier. A lot of times, a lot of clients will be like, oh, I used to never be this sensitive. I used to never be this emotional. And then all of a sudden I'm a mess. Okay. So that can definitely be a sign, just being a lot more sensitive. Some other signs of emotional fatigue could be like a detachment from your significant other. Like an emotional detachment, like you are so tired of the same situation over and over and over again that eventually you kind of check out emotionally and you cannot deal with it, and you're just done, and you're just like in your little tunnel vision and you're just focusing on yourself. So detachment can be a big thing. Also, just sometimes yourself feeling like a lack of motivation to get things done. You're tired. You can kind of relate these symptoms to almost like a low-graded depression almost. And I'm not saying you're depressed. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some symptoms that can mimic depression when you are going through an emotional fatigue in a relationship. So that's just something to pay attention to if you're feeling lethargic and blah, So those are some signs to pay attention to. Now, what do we do if we're finding ourselves just really, really tired and burnt out and not knowing where to go from there? Well, the first thing I have to start off with by saying is, when you form a new habit in life, any type of a habit, for example, it takes 18 days for that habit to kind of kick in and become a part of a routine going for you. So when it comes to these actions and these steps that you guys are going to be taking, I need you to take them for at least 18 days, around 3 weeks, in order to develop this new sense of a routine, because that'll feel normal to you after 3 weeks. It'll feel like a go-to kind of coping skill. So there are some things that you can do in order to prevent emotional burnout. And one of the things is self-care. Self-care is critical in terms of having a healthy, happy relationship, because we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of anybody else. So it's really important that you hang out with friends, that you go for long walks, you take nice relaxing baths, you do things that are going to replenish that emotional energy, levels, okay? Because right now you're depleted, you're down here. You got to replenish slowly with self-care, things that you find enjoyable to refill your energetic supply, so to speak. Also, sometimes, figuring out just a different perspective on life. If we're kind of looking at things just with dread and despair and sometimes just having a different type of a perspective on life and reminding yourself that, hey, I'm strong and I can do this and I can take care of myself and I can take care of my significant other. And so many people go through this and so many couples go through this, and I'm not alone. And kind of just coming from that strength-based approach instead of this more defeatist approach is a wonderful way to make sure that you were on the right path of reducing your emotional fatigue and relationship burnout. Okay. And then the last thing to do if you're feeling emotionally burnt out, you've done the self-care, you've kind of had the different, mental perspective. Talk to your partner about it. A lot of times we can feel so isolated and alone when we're feeling tired and emotionally drained. And half of the time our partners don't know that we're feeling that way. So even just verbalizing it and getting it out to our significant other can be a huge way for us to take care of ourselves and get that support that we need from our significant other, because it's a way of self-care. It's a way of taking care of us. We've done so much work to take care of our other half. Well, sometimes our other half needs to also know what we're going through. And that alone can be a huge form of support and a huge form of self-care. So you are not alone. So make sure that if you find yourself suffering from emotional depletion and relationship fatigue, because really it does feel like a suffering, do things to take care of you. Get that self-care in. Get that different mindset going. Talk to your partner about it. There's some things that you guys can do, and it's important to do, and I urge you to do it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in my comment section below, and I'll answer them for you. And please subscribe to my YouTube page. We'll have more information about healthy relationships and how to have a long-lasting one. And thanks so much for joining me. Bye.